So I want to take a moment. We shared some of the reasons why we got the interest in genealogy bug. We all come at this at different ways. I've always been in love and wanted to explore more with history, but for me personally, I did not get started in genealogy. I was high until my boss was fired at an old job, and they said, "Hey, you're in charge of doing this now." And one of the things that inspired me the most was learning how to talk with our guests, our research patrons, and understanding how they fit into a larger history. And often I hear the response of, if I would have known about my family's personal connection, say to the Civil War, I would have cared a lot more about that unit in school. And so it's important for us to remember with younger generations who they might be coming into caring about family history now, or they might not be, they come at it at a different way. So they're not going to be excited by pedigree charts. They might be more excited about a great story that you share, or a connection to something that they just learned in school, or a different interest that they have. And so for me and for us, as we move forward with creating some research goals for ourselves, coming up with a big why statement as to why exploring family history and why it matters to us can be helpful when we're frustrated or we've been busy with other things and we want to return. So my big why statement is I really just need to understand how my family fits in a larger historical narrative. So yes, it's answering all these mystery questions, and it's trying to solve certain pieces or understanding where a surname comes from or all those types of things. So take a minute and think about, of all the different pieces of family history that you've been inspired by, what might be your big why statement? And then go ahead and chime it out. Like an underlying thing.
Mine would be connection, I think. Connection to someone who I didn't know that well as a child, and who I wish I would have had more time with. So.
Thanks for sharing, Reagan. Anybody else?
I'm a local historian, so I've been doing this for years and years and years. I actually worked for the Indiana Historical Society long ago.
Well, nice to see you, fellow colleague.
And when I quit to have my child, who will be 34 in November, that's how long ago it was, I kept on with history, and I think history is made up of people, and I don't think we understand. It's not the leaders that really make up history, it's the individuals. And in order to understand history, you have to do the genealogy and understand that, and truly understand it. You have to know the individuals who make up who we are as a people, not just as a nation. And for instance, they'll say, well, people just stayed in one place. Well, if you do the history, people did not stay in one place. Yep. That's the reason why Indiana has the 100-year farm award, if you stayed in one place. And it's fascinating to me to see how much they moved. They moved to other states, to other countries, to wherever they moved. How many children actually died? I did a research on a parent who had 10 children and they all died. And it was just so tragic. So we have to understand, we understand a little more of what makes us do the things we do now. And I want to relate that to understand that we're doing vaccinations because people died from not having vaccinations, and not just a few, a lot died. The 1917 flu epidemic, a lot of people died. And it was not just because medicine is more modern, it was because it was a vicious, vicious sickness. And so I think in order to understand today, we have to understand why people did things yesterday.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much. So we're going to shift on a little bit, and so we can continue to share these stories and other points too. But so while we can discover new places and ways to uncover our family history, how to organize, make a plan, who to go to for help, all of these great things, I ask you to keep one thing in mind and make one promise to yourself and to me. And we just heard a great piece about this. Let's make sure to research the entire story and tell the entire truth. This is your introduction and your opportunity to tell your family's story, all of it. Every good story has twists and turns, antagonists, supporting characters, troubled and nurturing environments, frustrations, failures, and successes. Without all these pieces, without all these parts to the story, it is so hard to really understand their lives and their experiences. It's like judging the entire school experience of one student on just their SAT scores only. You can't do that. You're missing all the fighting between them and their friends and love drama triangles of preteens and their sporting achievements. We're just missing a lot if you only focus on those big test scores or those big vital statistic records. And so to better understand our story, this is why we encourage you at the Indiana Historical Society to do more of that family history diving, to go beyond some basic documents and explore their lives, the good, bad, and the complicated. So please honor these individuals and experiences that help shape you to write about them and share about them in your own way. Make sure you're doing this, sharing with your family or with a local historical society or a library. Don't let your hard work go to waste. And that we all understand, while we do this work, we're hoping that we build researchers in the future and a future generation that's more empathetic, right? That we are coming back to these experiences and just being enlivened by them. So when we're missing entire pieces of the story because it's uncomfortable, we're hurting ourselves and others. Your story is everyone's story. My story is your story. We're all connected.